Never in a million years did I think this picture would exist. But here we are. After a grueling 90 minutes of impressive, dominant football, Donald Trump appears for the trophy lift, blocking the view of the player of the tournament. It's very strange. For a second, I thought PSG were about to get the pity whistle. It would have been appropriate. But this ref was not taking anybody's nonsense. He wanted them to suffer. For the first time in I don't even remember, PSG were looking frantic. They were crossing to Joao Neves, of all people. A poor choice, as the man clearly lost his head. Maresca so emphatically outplayed Luis Enrique, so much so that Enrique decided to take it out on Joao Pedro. Go back to where you came from. Brighton. Chelsea were giving PSG a taste of their own medicine. Truly a masterclass of a performance. Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Welcome back. I'm Tinashe. I think many people severely underestimated Chelsea and what they could do in this tournament and in this final. So hats off to them. They're the world champions. I'm not entirely sure about the halftime show. I mean, listen, I like Coldplay, Chris Martin, and Doja Cat as much as the next person, but 25 minutes between halves, it's not really something I can get behind. FIFA are heartless. Not for 1 second do they consider the feelings of all the PSG fans that had to sit through that halftime show. The World Cup is going to be a wild time. So just a couple words on the actual tournament before we get into the actual match. It's done and dusted now, and I actually quite enjoyed it. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I thought that I wouldn't. I'm one of those people that was actively talking against it. But you know what? It was a fun time. All the background effects are still to be seen. Promotion for the final with Cole Palmer and Ousmane Dembele posing with the trophy between them. It is a pretty cool picture, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I don't know if either of them want to be there. Dembele has that being yelled at by the teacher, but not really taking anything in look. Hey man, at least they're being friendly. People weren't giving Chelsea all that much of a chance before this match, and let's not rewrite history. Rightly so, PSG were looking monstrous, but before the match, I went and screenshotted all the stats between the two teams in this tournament so far leading up to the final. Here they are over here. And if you look at them, there really isn't that much to separate them. We can talk about the caliber of opponents that both Chelsea and PSG had to face in the lead up to this final, but you have to play what's in front of you. Chelsea did it quite well and demolished the team that everyone thought was going to win. So can't argue with this, can you? Chelsea won so much in this tournament, not just the entire thing and the trophy, but reportedly $110 million in performance and appearance bonuses. For reference, this is about 82 million pounds. It's what Chelsea made in 2024 for all their matchday income. That's tickets at Stamford Bridge, game day sales, and much more. And PSG weren't that far behind, about $100 million or give or take 86 million euros. Although I'm not sure if the monetary aspect matters all that much to them. Also, they very much did not win the day. In fact, they lost. Let's get into the game. I'm a big fan of the Michael Buffer announcement, so hearing that iconic "Let's get ready to rumble" right before the game, that was pretty cool. That's the least contentious thing of this entire tournament. So the pace of this game was just incredible, and hats off to Chelsea because they set it. From the very beginning, they set out to just squeeze PSG and not give them any time to think and push them over to the flanks, because as soon as the ball gets anywhere close to Vitinha, then that's a problem. And I don't recall throughout the entire game Vitinha being in a dangerous position or making a dangerous pass, and that's how well and how disciplined and concentrated the Chelsea team were in not only pressing him down, but making sure his passing options were obsolete. But it was two things that Chelsea did in this game that really won them the match. It was, yes, that aggression and that real close tightness, but it was also purposefully targeting PSG's left-hand side, specifically Nuno Mendes. What Chelsea saw was that Mendes is an exceptionally talented player, but when he's on the ball, typically he tends to try and use his trickery or his physicality to get past the player and then play it out the back. What Chelsea saw was if you just put three players on him, specifically Cole Palmer, Malo Gusto, and Joao Pedro, then this severely limits his options and nullifies his effect. And they were exploiting that really well. Robert Sanchez, with his long balls over the top, were really giving Nuno Mendes a lot of problems. Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, and Reece James, a right back playing at CDM, just outplayed what everybody has labeled as the best midfield in the world over the last, 12, 15 months. Chelsea were really purring. I thought they were going to gas out because of that aggression and concentration that they had to consistently maintain, but no, it was just their game plan and it worked to a T. Specifically where I thought that this game plan had limitations came around the 15th minute or so, where Cucurella was getting extremely close to Desiree Doué and actually pretty much just fouling him every time he got close and not giving him any time to react or anything with the ball. Doué and his partner Hakimi recognized this and drew in that pressure from Cucurella. Desiree Doué drew in that pressure and just played a blind ball forward for Hakimi to run onto. Now, this happened very early in the game, and I thought we were going to see a lot more of it. But no, Cucurella he held his ground, and he played a fantastic game, truly. Any future attempts to play that kind of ball was quelled very quickly, purely by the fact that Chelsea were playing a high line, and the fact that no one had space to play long balls in those sorts of areas in the first place. I have one question. What happened to Robert Sanchez? He was having the game of his life. Where did this come from? Brilliant saves, amazing distribution, golden glove. I'm not standing for this, okay? I've only ever seen him play horrendous games for Chelsea, and I would like for that to return. Thank you. But seriously, good for him. Hopefully he can continue that sort of form for Chelsea's sake. But if I were a Chelsea fan, I would still be hoping that my team either replaces him or finds somebody just to keep him on his toes and make him better, because he is far too inconsistent. But in this game, he was fantastic. He made one pass under a lot of pressure by Ousmane Dembele that went straight on the floor to Enzo Fernandez, I think it was. It split PSG's entire team and kickstarted a Chelsea attack. And then he did something similar, like what I just spoke about with the long balls, over to Malo Gusto a couple seconds later, and that kickstarted, I guess, what led to Chelsea's first goal. Cole Palmer was shivering in 30-degree weather, which is about 86 degrees in freedom units. And then he does it again.
You dirty bastard, you've done it again!
The first goal was just magnificent. He just picks a spot and passes it past Donnarumma. The second goal was just as beautiful. There's an overlapping run by Joao Pedro. He uses that run, dummies, picks a spot again, cool as you like. What a man this guy is. By the time PSG had to restart after the second goal, they discarded their usual kickoff routine. You really have to commend Chelsea for this. They weren't allowing PSG to do anything. Every single one of those players knew what job they had to do and executed it incredibly well. As soon as Chelsea had to get themselves into a defensive shape, they really organized into that sort of 5-3-2 at the back formation really well, super quick. And I want to know why in the world PSG were giving Palmer so much space. We've gotten so used to Kvaratskhelia snuffing this sort of danger out before it manifests into anything great, but he does nothing here. Palmer, Chelsea's most dangerous man, is allowed to carry the ball into PSG's half unattended. The man could fit an 18-wheeler in the space PSG were giving him. He had already scored twice by this point, you know? And the really crazy thing about this is that Palmer went through a really big dip in form earlier in this year where he just wasn't being given space to do anything. He was getting doubled, triple teamed everywhere that he went, and everyone thought maybe he'd lost the source or that teams had just figured out how to nullify his threat. And here PSG are thinking, nah, those teams didn't know what they were talking about. We're gonna let him use the pitch as his playground. That'll show him. 2 goals, 1 assist in one half. And it was a brilliant assist. Really big shout out to Joao Pedro for his running all game. It's what set up Palmer's second goal, and him getting into space over here is what finished PSG off in record time. This guy was dropped into the Club World Cup halfway through and scored 3 goals. But like I said, Chelsea were just so smart in how they pressed. They were reliable for each other. Their concentration levels were so high. Just an immaculate performance all the way around. Just a masterclass, really. If they can play like that, if they can play like they did in the first half against, any of the teams in the Premier League this year, they're going to be a really big problem. Last year, when they were hitting them some really good form, and then everyone was talking about title contender this, title contender that, they dropped off pretty quickly. So, you know what? This season could be that year where they maintain that throughout the year. Who knows? On to PSG though, when they went 1-0 down, I thought it was fantastic because it would be a great test to see them play under adversity, and they failed. And they were just getting so frustrated over the game. It was actually very similar to what they did to Real Madrid. I'm picturing in my head a picture of Aurelian Tchouameni getting really frustrated, almost taking Hakimi's legs off with a reckless challenge. Fabian Ruiz was doing that quite a lot towards the end of this game too. They were very sore losers. Achraf Hakimi should have been on at least a yellow card. I counted about 3 cynical tackles that went unpunished before he was subbed off. A left-hand side that is usually so resolute, and Chelsea walked through them. In the second half, all the PSG ultras had their shirts on, which I thought was odd. But it was a sign of the times. Not one Chelsea player had a bad performance. Even the subs were great. Liam Delap could have scored 2 if it weren't for Donnarumma. But here we are. Chelsea, the greatest team in the world. Definitive proof that the Conference League is more superior than the Champions League. So I was watching all the post-match interviews, the trophy lips, the victory laps, as any football fan usually does for this sort of occasion. And they said that Donald Trump was going to be making an address, which I thought was interesting. Thought, let me give it a look. As a matter of fact, I'm currently in the final stages of, making a video on Donald Trump and Gianni Infantino's influence on FIFA, the history of the US and FIFA as an organization. So I thought this would be an interesting thing to see. Within 30 seconds of this interview, Trump starts talking about how much better America is than every other country in the world, how great he is, how much better his administration is, and how incompetent the last administration was. How America is winning in every single political war right now. It was baffling to me. This wasn't. It seems like this is not the time, number one. And from what I gather, this is what most of his public speaking appearances divulge into after a certain amount of time. Is this true? American fans watching, there are a lot of you. What's going on? In any case, the Club World Cup is over, and now we look forward to the future with all the leagues starting. All of those knock-on effects, like I said, will be seen, and we'll be hearing a lot of people blame the Club World Cup for future injuries, and they'll probably be right. Man City, I think they just announced that they're only going to be doing 1 preseason match this year because of the Club World Cup and the intensity of the previous campaign, which has only, funnily enough, just ended yesterday. Can you imagine? So yeah, watch this space right now. And now we begin the road to what seems like it could very well be the biggest World Cup ever. It's going to be a long road. Before we finish this video off, we're talking about Chelsea, PSG, the Club World Cup and all that. I feel like it's very important for us to address something that has some major significance at the moment. And, it's something that everyone has on their mind, but, not everyone wants to talk about it. Arsenal. Chelsea are winning Club World Cups and European trophies. Tottenham Hotspur are winning European trophies. Man City are about to be back. Liverpool are Premier League champions. Crystal Palace are winning trophies. Newcastle are winning trophies. Man United are at least making finals. What's going on with you? And there we have it. Like I said, Trump Infantino video is coming out soon. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you're having a great day. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.